Hello, I'm Ashley, the engineer from Andover Norton, and this week we've decided to answer some of the questions that have actually cropped up on the actual videos that we do each week. I was sat at home last week in between helping a carpenter fit a kitchen, and I was watching some of the actual questions come through, and I thought it'd be a good idea if we just had a quick video to go over some of those questions, because it may be a case of just because one person's asked a question, it may be of use to other people as well. The first one came in is about the wiring harness 067264/braided. Now this is the wiring harness here. This is for the 6970 model. It doesn't have the indicator wiring on it. However, it will encompass everything you need to do. If you want to fit an RM23 stator, if you want to put a 200 watt Podtronics rectifier regulator on there, etc., it will still do that. Most of these looms can be modified with just the minimum amount of wiring changes needed. It's pretty straightforward to do. If you've got indicators, or you're going to fit indicators to an early bike, it might be worth considering the later 73, 74 harness and loom to fit to your bike. You could still fit it anyway, but not use the actual indicator that it wires there for it. They're all much the same. It's only when you get to the Mark III the wiring loom changes significantly, and it's most probably not the best loom that there was ever produced on there, but a lot of people have got around that. Maybe one for another video. So that answers the one on the actual braided loom for the 067264. Another question that come up is about followers. Would it be a good idea to actually turn them into the actual Dunstall followers? Well, strangely enough, I've looked into it, and I've looked into the actual Dunstall parts book from that period, and he actually calls them Domiracer followers or tappets. Now, effectively, what they are is just half a actual tappet, really. It's slightly different. I've got the drawing of it here. We actually got the Domiracer tappet drawing. It's a bucket type arrangement, effectively. It must probably just cut down on the weight, but then you increase the length of your push rod slightly. How that worked or what the advantage of one over the other, I don't really know, but from what I can gather, the Domiracer actually did work well in practice. It was a shame it never really carried on into further development, really. So yes, you could use a bucket type follower, a Dunstall type Domiracer, whatever you wish to call it, style on a modern Norton, but you'd end up with longer push rods. And I don't think that would be that desirable in this day and age on the 750s and 850s. Another question that came in was, when you check the master cylinder body on the Mark III rear master cylinder, when you actually blow air through here, should it come out of one hole or both? It should come out the hole nearest the caliper. If you think about it, when your caliper gets hot through the braking action, any minute air that you've not managed to bleed out of there, and the temperature of the oil, etc., it needs somewhere to expand and escape to, so it comes back through the actual forward hole back up into the master cylinder, so that it doesn't start jamming itself on. The hole nearest the pedal is effectively what you use your makeup hole. When you apply the brake, the actual primary seal will move from between the position of the two holes past the hole nearest the caliper, shut off the fluid so nothing goes back up to the master cylinder, then starts applying pressure to the caliper itself. When you release, that small amount of wear that you've just put on the pads, it is absolutely minute. As you release the pedal, the primary seal will collapse and allow a little bit of oil, fluid to escape down this hole past the primary seal and make up the actual the amount of fluid that you need to counter for the amount of wear that you've just put on the pads. That's what it's for. So if you blow in there and you get air come out of both holes, something's seriously wrong. The part number for this part will be down here. This is a 13mm one. It was the only one I could find on the shelf at the moment. Again, with a 13mm one, I've tried this on my bike. Yes, it does work, but I found I was locking up the rear on too many occasions. It's most probably just a little overkill, really, for what's needed on the rear. The standard bore, as per the bikes when they came out of the factory is more than adequate on the old Mark III. You don't really need to go down to 13mm. Now, another question came in, and I get asked this one an awful lot. It's about the cam for an 850. On my Mark III, I've used the 06 1084. Originally, it had a polydyne cam. When I realised it had no lobes left on it, like a lot of Mark IIIs, and I swapped it and put an 06 1084 cam in there. The 06 1084, from the drawings we have, is a derivative from the Domiracer cam from around 1960-61 when it was designed. Strangely, I believe there's a service release out there that instructed Norton dealers to go back around mid-74 and fit the 06 1084 cam. It is a very good cam. I actually quite like it. For road use, fantastic. The only other cam I would consider using in an 850 on the road, other than this, would be a PW3. So whatever floats your boat really, but make no mistake, the 06 1084 is a good cam, and I've proven on the A roads around Hampshire, if you go to overtake a vehicle at somewhere around the road legal speeds, if you drop a gear and crack that throttle open, this cam will get the rear tyre to brake traction when you go out to go past the vehicles. Good cam. Any other questions at all, then feel free. The cams are made in the UK by a company that used to make them for Cosworth. They are EM40, a UK supplied material, not an Indian supplied material, and it is plasma nitrided. We know from sampling of our own suppliers' items, these are pretty good cams, and they have got a decent plasma case on them as well, when we've had the section and polish and look at it through the microscopes. Good bit of kit, nice cam. As to date, not had one of these fail in use. Pretty good. Any questions, technical or otherwise, or about sales or parts, feel free to get in touch with Andover Norton, and we'll try and help you where we can. Thank you very much.